Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody has had a good Monday. For anyone who watches this on the replay, thank you for watching on the replay. This is probably going to be one that will probably not be the most fun to watch in the replay because I'm sure it's going to end up all over the place. This is just going to be an open discussion, get to know each other kind of open discussion where we can talk. You guys can ask me any kind of questions. No question is off limits. If I feel it's inappropriate to answer, I will say so. But I figured we could just kind of get to know one another since we do talk about some sensitive things on Mondays. There's a couple of reasons why on Friday I opted to not put a poll out. And a lot of it is this last week has been extremely rough in my household. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. I don't want to start off the live stream like that, but we've just had a lot going on and I needed a week to not talk about something heavy. So I figured the best way to not talk about something centered around a heavy topic is to just do a get to know me, and you guys can ask me questions, even if they're heavy questions. It's not remaining on a heavier topic to talk about, if that makes any sense. So any questions that you guys have, can be general, it can be specific. Feel free to leave it in the chat box. I'm going to try my best to keep up with everybody. I'm also coming on here later than normal, so I know some people who typically aren't able to participate may be able to participate, and vice versa. Sorry for the short notice of the live stream as well. I'll talk a little bit about what's all going on later. It's some more heavy stuff and not so much to do with me, but more so of what my husband's been dealing with. So that has, if it affects him, it affects me, right? So I want to say hi to everybody who is here. Hello, Cheryl. Oh man, 3 o'clock in the morning and you can't sleep. I have been there. I've been there. I know the struggles of what that is. Hey, Melissa, thank you for the compliment on my hair. I'm surprised it looks okay. I've had it up all day and I just took it down. Hey, Elizabeth, good to see you. Hey, Kathy Ann. Hey, Melissa, if I didn't say hi, I know I read that you said hi. I just don't remember if I acknowledged you. Hello. Yes, Cheryl, I am going to get to vacation with my mom. I am super excited. I'm going to try my best not to get emotional, depending on what we talk about, because of what's all been going on. Emotions are heightened in our house. But I haven't seen my mom in a year and a half. And this is the longest I have been since I was adopted, not seeing my family. I've talked a little bit here and there about being homesick, and I'm more homesick for people, the people that I know, my family. So it's a big deal. She was going to try and come sooner, but she needed to get her second dose of the vaccine before she felt comfortable to travel, and she's now fully vaccinated and everything. So she is coming, and we are going to have a girls' trip a little bit a ways from where we're at. We are going to, I'm going to take my watch off because the notifications are going to drive me nuts. We're going to have a girls' trip, and we're going to be in Vegas for a weekend, which her and I have never gone on just a trip, her and I. So that's going to be super fun. It's going to be super exciting. And then we're going to drive back to where we're at, to my house, and then she'll be with me for about a week. And it's just good timing because my husband's not that she doesn't want to see him, but he won't be here for about a week, so she's going to be here with me. So we're super excited. We keep talking about what we're going to do in Vegas and all this stuff, and we're just it's like we're little 21-year-olds who just started to be able to drink and who want to go out and have a good time. It's been very fun talking to her the last couple of days, getting ready and like hyping each other up for her visit. I'm super excited. It's going to be really, really fun. So that starts in about 2 weeks. Her flight gets in on the 9th. I'm a little bit sunburnt, so just ignore that. So yes, I am super excited. Thank you, Cheryl, for mentioning that. I also want to go ahead and thank anybody. I did put it out on Twitter. I'm not trying to sympathy grab or anything like that, but I just launched the business. So although our bills and everything are paid, we don't have a lot of extra money. So I did ask for anybody, if you wanted to be so inclined, to donate to the PayPal. That way I would get it before the trip. It was appreciated, and several of you guys did, and I can't tell you guys how much that means to me. It's going to be money that we can spend on going to shows and stuff like that, where she's not having to foot the entire bill. So I appreciate that. You guys really didn't have to. I'm super excited though, and it meant so much to me for those of you who were able to and felt it in your heart to give us some extra money. I really do appreciate all of that. Hey, Xylee. Yeah, I'm somebody who never really actually takes vacation. Anytime we say we're going on a vacation, it's usually to do a function, like a wedding or at times a family reunion. But I've never really gone on a legitimate vacation. This will be my first one ever, and I'm 31, and that's crazy to say. But I'm super excited. It's been fun to think about what we may do and just trying to figure out what's there. We're really excited. I don't know if she will come on a live with me. I haven't tried to ask that question yet. So I don't know. I'm open to asking her if she'd be willing to come on a live stream. I don't know how she feels about putting herself out on the internet. She does watch our live streams. She does watch my content. So she inadvertently kind of knows some of you guys who are regularly in the chat and talk with me. She does watch the chat and replay. So she might be willing to do that. I don't know. I haven't even thought to ask her. I will though. I've had a couple of people comment that they would enjoy that. So I'll have to see if she'd be open to anything like that. I'll keep you guys posted. It might be something that she's on the fence about, so we'll have to see. Hey, Sue, good to see you. It's hard because we don't know when the U.S. can enter. Well, I think I missed part of the conversation. My adoption story from her perspective would be awesome to ask. I would imagine she would. The thing is, I don't know. One, I don't know if she'd be comfortable with coming on live. One. Two, I don't know if she'd be open to talking about that, because it's different to talk about it live if you've not really expressed it before than to talk about it pre-recorded. I've talked about it enough and I've worked through it enough to where I'm comfortable talking and answering any question around that. But she's really emotional, and she gets really emotional when she talks about it. So I don't know if she would be comfortable talking about that. I'll ask her next time we talk. I talked to her actually just before I came on live tonight. And I didn't even think to ask her. Oh, pre-recorded? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to ask her some of these questions. I think a lot of people would probably, hey, Dr. A, I think a lot of people would probably enjoy that kind of conversation, just to give both perspectives. I'll ask her. I'll see if she's open to it. If she's open to it, I'm open to it. Ow. Sorry, I'm cracking my fingers. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. I guess what I could ask in return are, I will put up a community post in case she would be willing to film something like that, to ask you guys some of the questions you have for her. and for me, for us to have a conversation. Yeah, it has been a very long time since we visited. I keep in contact with most of my family pretty well. My siblings and I we all have crazy busy lives, so we don't talk as often as we probably should, but we're a very close family. I hope you get to see your relative, Cheryl. I'm not sure which relative it is that can't come see you or you see them. I think I missed who. Oh, your daughter. Yeah, I hope you guys are able to see each other again. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I understand the reason why travel restrictions are still in place, but hopefully as people get vaccinated and things like that, some travel restrictions will lift a little bit. So, does anybody have any questions? Like I said, this live is probably going to be hard to follow because I imagine people are going to ask different kinds of questions from all over the place, and the conversation's probably going to shift quite a bit. And I know there's a delay, so it's always like awkward. Oh, because we're still orange. That stinks. I hope, because I know how hard it's been on me and my family. So I can't imagine, especially when you are in different countries. You think the pre-recorded is a good idea? Yeah, and some people just aren't comfortable with talking in front of a camera. So I really don't know. It's something I've never even thought to ask because I'm so used to my husband who doesn't want to be on camera at all. So I'm just used to assuming that people don't want to be a part of the internet. Yeah, I think this time has given a lot of people who live away from family some appreciation. It makes you not take them for granted. I agree. Let me see. I know I've done a couple of Q&As in the past, so I don't really know what kind of questions to maybe pull from. You don't have a question? Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Elizabeth. I pulled up some random questions, so if nobody has any, just to start the conversation. You guys also answer the questions because I want this to be more of a collaborative, we get to know each other rather than you guys just getting to know me. So if you're comfortable with sharing your answers to any question, definitely leave it in the chat. That way I can get to know you guys a little bit better. Let's see here. Some of these, one of these is what's your favorite song at the moment? I'm weird. I never really have a favorite song or a favorite artist, or for a while I had a favorite movie, and at this point in my life, I don't even know if I have a favorite movie. The what's your favorites, things that can change, I don't have any of that, but do you guys, any of you guys have a favorite song that's currently is your go-to music? Hey, it's just chat. Good to see you. You've been MIA because of softball games. Ooh, I never played softball. My sister did, but I didn't play softball. Sports, I played, I've talked about it before. I was in band a good bit from middle school all the way to high school. So I was in marching band in high school. So that prevented me from doing other sports that I had done previously. But I played basketball. I was a point guard in basketball. I was the I was somebody who, I don't know if you guys will believe it or not, but I was somebody who often fouled out of basketball. And that's kind of how I got my nickname from my dad, Scrappy, because I was scrappy. I was really fast and I would not care. And I would break the rules and foul out. What other sports? I did cheerleading for a while when I was younger. I did ballet and jazz, I think, when I was in like elementary school. I didn't carry that on. And did I cheer in middle school? I think I cheered in middle school, but I stopped in high school because I was in marching band. I played the clarinet. And what's interesting is I haven't played my clarinet since I graduated high school, which was a while ago. But I'm like, if I picture a piece of like a sheet of music, I still think I'd be able to play. I don't know. I may be like way overzealous in that thought, but I don't know. I don't have my instrument anymore. Not that I would ever even try. And if I did, I definitely wouldn't record it. Lady Marmalade and Build Me Up Buttercup. Those are very good songs, especially Build Me Up Buttercup. Hey, Terry. Pandora's 90s R&B is what you like, but you don't remember their names. Your daughter played softball through high school. The season is busy. Hockey and tennis, no cheerleading over here. I can understand that. I'm not so scrappy anymore. My mouth is more scrappy than my body is at this point, but I appreciate that. Softball and baseball never really piqued my interest. They seem like pretty boring games, and I know that's probably going to offend anybody who's a fan of those games or played those, but for me, they just seem kind of boring. So I never had interest. There was a little bit of time where I think I piqued my interest about soccer, but I never followed through with it. You're a former ballet teacher? Oh, I don't remember any of it. I was in those dance classes when I was in elementary school. You totally understand. I'm excited for you that you get to finally see her, though. I'm sure not being there for the beginning of her life has been hard. You played volleyball, softball, and the flute. You square dance, soccer, volleyball. You're not athletic, though. I mean, in my adult years, aside from like club dancing, I would go two-stepping, which I know some people might judge me for that, but I would go two-stepping quite a bit. And I would line dance. You used to hate soccer, but you enjoy watching it now. See, and I'm somebody who prefers to actively play a sport rather than watch it. I'm not a huge fan of watching sports. It's never been something that I have been interested in or that I got enjoyment out of. Yeah, I like different kind of music too. There's not one particular genre there is one genre I will not listen to, and that's because it gives me a headache, and that's anything with like heavy screamo. If the entire song is like screaming into the microphone, I can't handle that. If it's like alternative music where it's kind of like, I don't even know, just alternative, and then there's like little bits like Breaking Benjamin and stuff like that, I can listen to that kind of music just fine. You love country music? I don't mind country music. It's one of my go-to musics, but I also like pop music. I'm also somebody, totally airing my laundry out here, that I will listen to K-pop. I really actually enjoy the music, even though I don't understand it, and I enjoy watching their music videos. Ooh, they're unbeaten. That's awesome, Sue. Oh, you used to ride horses? See, or race horses. I love horseback riding. I've only been like probably enough times to count on my hands, but it's something that I thoroughly enjoy. And I don't know why, because I'm not a professional. I'm not very good at it at all, but it's just peaceful to me. And I think horses are majestic. I end up on horse TikTok quite often, and there's been a couple of like really beautiful horses, and I find myself like showing my husband like, oh, look at how cool this horse is, and he's just looking at me like, really? Is this really what you're doing right now? I'm like, yeah. They can dance. I agree. You have a question. How is your mental health after lockdowns and COVID? My mental health is fine. Most of my mental health that I started to struggle with had to do more with like stress of an unhealthy work environment. But other than that, I mean, homesick has always been hard for me. And it just so happened to be that COVID really amped that for me because I was unable to travel at all. Even if I had the inkling to go see my family, I wouldn't have been able to. Aside from that, it really didn't affect me personally, but I know several in the chat who have talked about COVID being a hard time for them. You've always had horses as a child, your whole working life. That's so cool. Man, I mean, this is kind of like a get to know me, whatever kind of stream. So as I said, I've been on horse TikTok, and I keep seeing people bathe their horses, and I really want to take on the task of bathing somebody's horse just to try it, just to do it. I used to bathe dogs and cats, so maybe that's why I have that weird idea, but the end result, they look so pretty and so silky, and I just want to brush through and make their coat nice and shiny. I'm sure I sound like a loony bin saying that, but it's weird. It's something that I want to do now. I don't know if I'll ever get the opportunity, but I don't know. It's weird. You're very excited. Stay quiet about her birth until she was home. Well, I'm excited for you to be able to get to see her and, you know, have some time with your grandchild. That's got to be fun. I know my mom always, I have 3 nieces, and she's gone and helped my sister when each of my nieces was born. And I was able to go when one of my nieces was born, shortly after she was born, and she was really small. And it's a different experience, that's for sure. But it was something that I cherish. In Florida, where you lived, they gave racehorses in broad mares. I think you guys are having a side conversation. I don't know enough about horses to be able to actually talk about them. You're horrible at sports. You tried, but they scared you. You love getting exercises, though. If it's uncompetitive. And I'm extremely competitive. My husband and I think it was last month, we're both very competitive people, and we played Monopoly almost every night. We had like the electronic Monopoly where you don't have to count out the money, so it was quicker. We played Monopoly like almost every night for a month, and it was like tit for tat. One night he'd win, one night I'd win. One night I thought he was cheating, and we ended up not having like a real fight, but just like, well, I'm done playing then kind of thing. It was kind of funny. You find horses magnificent too. You bought a big brass horse. Is it one that's like for the yard, like a big brass horse, or like a table decor for your house? Sports equal injuries. I actually never got injured playing any sports. I've only had one broken bone, and you guys may find it funny. I broke my pinky toe when, gosh, how old was I? I think I was a preteen, but I made the biggest deal out of it. Not intentionally, it really hurt. I had never really hurt myself to that extent, and I was jumping on the trampoline with my brother, and I'm pretty sure my mom wasn't home. Maybe she was. I can't remember because my dad is the one who ended up like scooping me up and taking me to the emergency room, which most of you guys are probably laughing. You know, when you're young and you're jumping on the trampoline, how you're super flexible and your body will bend. So that's pretty much what happened. We would do the jump, and then you land on your back and then you jump, like you get the momentum and you like spring forward. So I went to go on my back and my feet kicked over my head and my foot hit the metal railing. This was before they had the protective nets, and my toe broke. And I cried very, very hard and made a huge deal about it. And my dad picked me up and put me in the car and took me to the emergency room just for them to give me crutches and say to stay off of it while it healed, that there was nothing they could really do but tape it. So there's a story for you. Call some stables. There's actually stables around not too far from where I'm at. I don't know though. I don't want to be like a farm. I'm not good in the heat and it is extremely hot. So I don't know. Maybe I should try. Giant table decor. I'm interested to know how big this brass horse is. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, it really has been hard. Hey, Francine, you're about to have your 4th grandchild. Oh, congratulations. You like digging for crawfish? I don't think that that's so weird though, but I'm also, they call the police on me one night. That's kind of funny. I'm from Florida. Most of you guys know that. And where I'm from the Panhandle, so very close to Alabama. So crawfish isn't like was normal, and my family would go vacation in the Lake of the Ozarks, and crawfish was our bait. So crawfish don't freak me out. I'm not a huge fan of how crawfish tastes though. I'm very particular when it comes to my seafood. I'm so glad you're doing better, Susan. You did it when you were 35. It was a physical job working with racing horses. I can imagine. 2 feet tall. That's a big brass horse. I'm sure it's beautiful. Your son pulled a chunk of growth plate out of his hip on his swim team. He was so interested in impressing. Oh my goodness. I hope he's okay and he's healed from that. This just reminds me of a story on my husband. So my husband has always been like the kind of daredevil where, you know, take any risks, do anything. So this was way before I met him. When he was in high school, he got a street bike as his first vehicle, which isn't a big deal for their family. You know, they would go dirt biking and off-roading, and my husband was really good at all of that stuff. So when it got time for him to get his license, his dad got everybody like the car that they wanted when they got their first vehicle, and he wanted a street bike. So he got one, and he had it for, I don't remember how long, but he got off school and he was trying to impress some females, and he did a wheelie and he tried to ride it out for a really long time, and he ended up hitting a pebble. As the story goes, he hit a pebble, totaled his bike, and ended up with severe road rash. So he's got a place on his calf and a place on his butt that is all funky because of when he got that accident, all because he was trying to impress some girls. I'm like, you shouldn't have done that. Oh my gosh, you fell off of a 17-hand quarter horse who hadn't been ridden in a while. Oh my, that had to have been a very hard fall. You were still in your 20s, so you get it now, the hard work. He's 37 now. Okay, so he's grown. The horse's name was too tall, if that tells you anything. I mean, 17 hands is a really big horse. That's insane. Oh my gosh. So I guess this has ended up being more of like embarrassing stories time. Let's see, do you guys have any other weird questions? Hey, Lauren, how are you? Good to see you. Some of these are really boring. Your favorite subject in high school? I don't even remember my favorite subject in high school. My favorite drink? Probably Coca-Cola. And I mean, I know people call it something different wherever you're at. We refer to it just as Coke. But Coca-Cola, sometimes Dr. Pepper. It really just depends. Sometimes I would really prefer a Dr. Pepper over a Coke. I like dark soda. What are some of you guys' favorite drinks? And I'm going non-alcoholic here. If you guys have a favorite drink and it happens to be alcoholic, feel free to leave it in the comments. How do you decide if it's a heavy topic is something you'll cover or not? What factors do you consider? So I really don't. That's a good question because I don't even know how to answer it. Whenever there's a really heavy topic, whenever I do the polls on Friday, I try to make sure like I'm in a good state of mind to talk about it. So if it was something that is too sensitive or too fresh for me to openly have a conversation and a dialogue about it, I will put it off. Like I did a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week or the week before, something happened on Monday where I put it off to Tuesday. If it's too heavy or something that I'm not prepared to have that discussion, I put it off an extra day just to make sure that I'm centered. I try to only include topics in the open discussions that I'm comfortable talking about. As far as like my pre-recorded videos, those are a little bit easier because I can ground myself before sitting and filming. And if it's something that's really emotional or hard to talk about, I can easily stop and restart, or I can edit out stuff. The factors I consider are where I'm at, if I'm in a good place to talk about it. Like I said earlier, last week was a rough week, not really for me. And this is going to have a huge trigger warning for the next couple of minutes for anybody here or anybody who is watching the replay while I talk about this, and we can quickly move off the topic. Last week, my husband found out that somebody he worked with for quite a long time had taken their life. Unfortunately, it's not something that is not uncommon when it comes to the military lifestyle. And it hit him pretty hard. It's not the first time we've dealt with it. It's not the first time he's had to overcome this, but it hit him really hard. And I think a lot of why this one affected him more is because we're under a lot of stress currently, and we're also isolated. So normal coping mechanisms to go to family or to go to friends or coworkers is not an option. So he was really struggling with it. And then unfortunately, another person that he worked with did the same thing. So he's had two really hard losses this past week. and they have affected him a lot more than they have in the past. And I think it's a whole bunch of different factors playing into it. So the reason why this is so late is I had to advocate for my husband with his chief and have a conversation that I knew my husband wasn't going to have. So I'm okay. I'm more just being the supportive spouse and being his advocate when he can't advocate for himself, because men just, they have too much pride and they have too much ego, especially if you know anybody in the military or are related to anybody in the military or your spouse. It's a big deal. So I've kind of been preoccupied with that. And that's why I just wanted this to be kind of like a laid back, easy stream, because one, I don't want to be on here for forever tonight. Not that I typically mind. But two, I want to keep it lighthearted so I can keep myself in a good lighthearted mood and not talk about anything serious. Because when we do have like serious open discussions, sometimes when I come away and I turn off the camera, I'm a little bit drained by no fault of anybody but my own. And I know that that's a part of the process of hosting these. But because of everything that's going on, I didn't want to have that be something where I had to decompress. So I wanted to just have a really chill, laid back, get to know me, let's just chit chat kind of open discussion today. Next week, we'll probably be back to regular scheduled open discussion. I've had a couple of really good suggestions that I will be including in the poll for next week. So that's just kind of where I'm at. So we can end the trigger warning. I appreciate everybody who is sending condolences. It's rough whenever things affect him, with anybody in your household. If it affects one person, it's likely to spill out and affect everybody. So unfortunately, though, it is something that is a big part of that lifestyle. So yeah, it does happen a lot in the military, Cheryl. It really does. The brass horses, how big? 2 feet. Almost 2 feet. Now we're at almost 2 feet. Yes, family does come first. I agree. Yeah, they never do ask for favors. That's for sure. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. And I will definitely relay that everybody gave him, their condolences. He's just needing some time, as anybody does when you grieve. I know a lot of people in this community are dealing with a grief as well and like working through that. So I know there's a lot of hurt right now for a lot of people. So I figured it would be best to just keep it lighthearted, keep it simple, not talk about anything too heavy for this. My video that will probably be out tomorrow is pretty heavy. But we can change the topic. It was a good segue from that question just to relay it, since I said I would talk about it. I'm sorry to hear that, Kathy Ann. I hope you're okay. Yeah, there's quite a few people who've been dealing with quite a bit of loss lately. I've seen it all over. Yes, Sue, I'm so sorry. I hope you're doing okay. It's grief is one of like the hardest, loss and grief are like the hardest emotions to actually work through. So you get obsessed with apple juice for some reason when you're pregnant. I guess that's probably more of like a pregnancy craving if it's only when you're pregnant. I don't mind apple juice, but it's not something that we buy. if that makes sense. If we have younger people coming to the house, usually we've had it before, but for the most part, we don't have apple juice. But I do like apple juice. I like a lot of, I've come to like water since I was dieting and all of that. And the only thing there for several months that I was drinking was water. Clearly, I have not been on track, but I've come to like water. There for a long time in my life, I did not like water, and I wouldn't drink it. Yeah, he was a Marine. I'm sorry for that. The military, as most agencies and organizations, unfortunately, are more reactive than they are preventative. And the military has a lot of safety briefings that they go to and everything like that. But the problem is the safety briefings are like yearly, and you never know what's happening in between that time. I don't see, Sue, you and I have very opposite taste buds. I don't like Pepsi. I will drink it if it's the only thing to drink, but I don't like it. My husband prefers Pepsi over Coke, but he really likes Coke. Like if there's a choice between Pepsi and Coke, it's kind of like my choice between Coke and Dr. Pepper. It just depends on what he's feeling. It's like 50-50 for him. You love iced tea. Melissa asked sweetened or unsweetened. I'm a huge sweet tea drinker. Not so much now that we're nothing's the same as Southern sweet tea, and that's the sweet tea I'm used to and that I like, so I don't have sweet tea anymore. You can't stand Coke. It just tastes like sugar now. You mainly just drink water. I feel like if you are someone who primarily eats and drinks pretty healthy, my diet would not sound appealing. You like the debate about pineapple on pizza, love it or hate it. Yeah, exactly. Sweet tea with pink lemonade. I don't know if I would like that. I mean, I'm fine with half and half, but I'm not a huge fan of pink lemonade though. Pineapple is gross on pizza. If only Britt was here. I mean, you're not the only one who thinks pineapple shouldn't belong on pizza. I've said before, I will eat pineapple on pizza. Is it something that I go out of my way to order? No. But if it's there, I'll eat it. I think it tastes fine. Melissa's team pineapple. Yeah. No, Melissa, you're right. Because when I was just drinking water and then I caved and started to have a couple of sodas here and there, it was too sweet at the beginning. But the carbonation, we got one of those soda streamers a while ago, and it's just, even though it carbonates it and the soda mixtures are better, they all taste like diet drinks, and that's because they're like 0 sugar. It's just not the same. The carbonation is not the same, and they all taste like the sodas kind of taste like off-brand, which I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I don't like diet soda in general, and it being off-brand, it kind of has a weird taste to it. So the only one that we consistently drink from our soda stream is ginger ale. I love ginger ale, and the ginger ale that comes with that you can buy for that machine is top notch. My son said we are weird for liking pineapple pizza. He never tried it. He should try it. You at least have to try it before you can say if you like it or not. You used to like Coke until you started drinking water for over 6 months with Canadian bacon. Yeah, that's called like the Hawaiian pizza, right? You had a cheeseburger pizza once. See, the weird burgers like that, burgers, I mean, pizzas like that just seem a little bit too weird to me, and I won't try. Ew, it had like that just grosses me out. And I don't know why, because it's like the same thing as a burger. If they're putting all the toppings of a burger, it's just the crust. I don't know. That just seems a little too strange for me. If it was in front of me, maybe I would try it, but I am not going to pay for that because I run the risk of not liking it, and then I feel like I wasted money. If that makes sense. But I usually will try just about anything at least once. The specialist who you see for arthritis said, do not drink coffee. So you had to quit drinking coffee too? I don't have to drink coffee. Like, I'm not somebody who wakes up and like feels the need to have caffeine. I can wake up and have a glass of water and be fine. I like the taste of coffee though. So I like to wake up and then make a coffee. You like thin crust barbecue sauce with chicken. I think in my lifetime I've tried the barbecue chicken, but not since I've been an adult. So I don't know if I would like it. I'm not a huge fan of onions. The thin crust doesn't bother me. My husband prefers thin crust pizza, so that's usually what we buy. You're a boring eater. That's okay. Everybody's taste buds are different. You must have caffeine. Yeah, some people feel that they have to have some kind of caffeine to get motivated, get going. I'm not like that. I don't need it. Like, I don't even think the caffeine does anything for me. Sometimes it makes me a little bit shaky, but other than that, like, I don't find myself more energized, even when it comes to energy drinks. And my husband's an avid energy drinker. And I was there too for a while. And I've said here and there that, we have a Dutch Bros and occasionally I'll go get a Dutch Bros. It's more because of the flavor than the actual energy drink. I like to think that it would wake me up, but it really doesn't. If I'm tired, I'm tired. And energy drink and coffee, they don't make a difference. You're glad arthritis missed you. You have a neuromuscular disease. You live on caffeine all day. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't do much for me. You have low blood pressure, so it gives you a few good hours. I can understand that. Hey Amy, how are you? We have a lot of things we like, not that though. Love olives. What kind of olives is going to be my question, because there's black olives. What are those green ones called? I'm not going to be able to think of it. But I like all olives, which I know is also like you either love it or hate it kind of food. But yeah, I'll eat any kind of olive. Olives, all of them are gross. I disagree. My husband doesn't like black olives, but he likes the green ones. Yeah, I like all olives too. And I'm not the kind of person to go and buy olives to snack on them. But if my husband is in the mood for olives, he will go buy a jar of those olives and eat them. Let's see, what's another topic we can talk about and get to know each other on? Brussels sprouts. I like Brussels sprouts, and so does my husband. His and my taste buds are very similar. Neither one of us are super picky. There's only a few things that I won't eat. Like, I won't eat squash. Absolutely. Like yellow squash, I hate it. I will not eat yellow squash. He doesn't mind yellow squash. I don't like onions, but I'll eat them. He absolutely hates avocado, and I love avocado. And those are just like the few things that and I'm sure there's more things he doesn't like. That's just the only one I can think of off the top of my head. Buggies or carts. I think I interchangeably use buggy and cart. Hey, Jean, it's okay that you're late. It's good to see you. How do you cook the Brussels sprouts? So the way that we cook them is we either get the microwavable bags where they're already pre-seasoned, or we cut them, boil them, and then season them. And the last time my husband had Brussels sprouts without me, he put them in the air fryer. They were okay. Onions are the best. You like pickled okra? I don't know if I've had okra pickled. I like fried okra. Onions are the best. I don't mind onion, except for the purple onions. I hate those. I hate them. I guess that's another food that I really do not like. It's one of those foods that squash and those kind of onions I will pick off. Like those onions are usually red onions. That's what they're called. They're usually on your salads and stuff like that. And some burger places will have that as your onion. If I forget to say no onion, I will take it off. I will not eat it. You will eat just about anything but beets. I like beets. I'm really not picky though. There's just a handful of foods that I really won't eat. Other than that, I pretty much eat and pretty much enjoy just about anything else. Brussels sprouts with balsamic and bacon. We haven't had it that way. Love liver and onions. I don't know if I've ever eaten liver, to be honest. You refuse to eat warm or hot lettuce. My husband won't eat it either. Whenever we go to like Subway or anything like that, the reason he refuses to toast his bread is because it makes his vegetables warm. You can find pickled okra by the pickles at Walmart. That's one of those things that I think anything pickled, you either like it or you really don't. I like vinegar tasting things, like bitter tasting, so I probably would like it. You love red onions, cheese, red onion toasted sandwiches. That sounds just awful to me. You used to love all kinds of foods, but now certain foods give you heartburn. Oh, I'm so sorry. You buy blue cheese stuffed olives or garlic stuffed olives, the queen size. I don't know if I've ever had stuffed olives. But my husband is not a huge fan of blue cheese. He's a ranch guy, not blue cheese. Beets are popular with the Dutch. You always check in case they're hiding. Pickled pig feet. I've never had pig feet. I don't know if I would be able to because it looks like a pig foot. I'm one of those people that kind of gets weirded out even giving my dogs the pig ears. So I don't know if I'd actually be able to try that. If you take Brussels sprouts and slice them up, you can cook them on the grill. You can saute them. Yeah, you can cook Brussels sprouts a number of ways. We usually just like to have them boiled and then either use butter or olive oil or some kind of oil and then garlic, salt, and whatever other seasonings we want to use. What's your biggest pet peeve? Chewing with your mouth open. Hands down. I'm one of those people that if I hear people chewing with their mouth open, I instantly, legitimately, I shit you not, get pissed off. Smacking your gum even. My husband does that, and I just have to look at him and say, really? And he will spit his gum out because he can't chew his with his mouth shut when it comes to gum. Same thing, food's the same way. It's gotten to a point where I think I told my mom, and we have a couple of family members that eat kind of, they're not sloppy eaters, but they're noisy eaters. And she always tries to make it to where I can pick my seat furthest away because she knows it bothers me. But I mean, it really makes me mad, like instantly mad. And sometimes other noises will get to me too. And like the same like clicking noise, like the AirPods case. I don't have mine in here. My husband will sit there and just flip it and shut it and flip it and shut it. And once I notice it, it's all I can focus on. I think it may be like parts of potential ADHD kicking in. That's all I can hear. And then I cannot focus on anything else. And that's what makes me mad. So then I'm like, he knows, my husband, we've almost been married for 10 years. So he kind of knows that noises can trigger me to get angry. So if he starts to do something annoying, I'll just say, hey, can you stop? And sometimes he continues just to bug me because, you know, men are men and they still have to pick on us even once you're married. So he's usually pretty good about it. That's my number one pet peeve. Hey, Melody, good to see you. You can't stand chewing noises, quit lessons with a piano teacher because she swallowed coffee too loud. Swallowing noises, I don't think have ever bothered me. I can't stand it. Popping your gum drives you nuts, and eye rolling. I mean, I don't have to deal with eye rolling. I don't have children, except for my husband, which, I mean, I don't care if he rolls his eyes at me. Your son used to do it when he was getting in trouble. You've had boiled peanuts a few times. It sounded like there was just an accident. Can't see it if there was one. I don't mind the occasional like pop of like if you're blowing a bubble and it pops. I don't mind that so much. It's like if it's a repetitive thing, does it bother me? Got distracted by the noise outside and I lost my spot. Boiled peanuts. I like boiled peanuts. It's been a long time since I've had any though. Did you guys hear that? It's just chat. You just said, was that a wreck? Did you guys hear the screeching of the tires? It sounded like it was, but if it happened up or down the street because I don't see it outside. I don't know if I've ever said, like, we live in a subdivision. It's a pretty large subdivision and it's like split off into different parts. And our street is one of the main streets to get to our part of the subdivision. And there's like interconnecting streets. But the streets here compared to the ones in Florida where I'm from are massive. And a lot of people park their vehicles on the side of their street. For some reason, people like to have, I mean, probably because there's multiple people in the home who are driving, but like people's driveways are full with cars and then they park extra cars or recreational vehicles like RVs and stuff like that on the side of the road. And there's still plenty of room for both ways of traffic. But I've always wondered, like, if somebody's not paying attention, if they come around a bend and hit somebody's vehicle that's in the side of the road, I wonder if that's what just happened. Your husband rolls his eyes more than your kids. You don't think he even knows he's doing it? That you should call him out on it and see if he does. Green peppers give you heartburn. I like green peppers. He'll still roll his eyes just to get at you. I mean, that's just cute teasing. My brother constantly teases my mom. You guys heard it? I wonder if it was an accident and I just can't see it. I'm surprised you guys heard that and you didn't hear the wind howling the other day. You've never had boiled peanuts? Oh, they don't really taste like peanuts. Like if you like normal dried peanuts, boiled peanuts taste entirely different, in my opinion. You guys heard the skidding wheels and the braking? I mean, it sounded like something hit too, but it wasn't like a super loud noise. So I don't know. Yeah, boiled peanuts aren't crunchy. They're soft. I'm being nosy just to see if there's anything going on. I mean, there's something going on, but I don't think it's what we heard. Oh, a couple of you guys have never had boiled peanuts. Hey, Kate, how are you? It's a totally different texture. I think the texture gets most people rather than the flavor, but it's extremely salty. So if you don't like salty foods, you probably wouldn't like. I rent, so I don't know if there's an HOA here or not. I'm trying to think if there was anything like that in our lease, because we've rented where there's been HOAs before. I don't know, but the streets here are made like that for that purpose. Trying to look up other questions. Most of these are pretty boring and ones I feel like I've answered before. You have HOA, but they still park on the side. Yeah, all of the streets here, like even main streets here, have extra space for parking on the side of the road. Some of these are, I feel like I've probably answered this exact questionnaire before. Let me see if I can find more original. Yeah, if you get a chance, try and boil peanuts. Yeah, look up a recipe, and if you guys have what you need to try them, I would recommend it. It's something that I think everybody should try. Leanne question. So if you boil peanuts, does that reduce the mess that the peanut shells make? I mean, the peanut shells are flimsy, so you still have to break them open, but they don't crumble apart everywhere. Someone suggested a dream vacation. My dream vacation, there's one place that I've always wanted to go, and one day my mom and I will go because we've talked about it for years, is to go to Paris because that's where I was born. Something I just want to go and like see the little town that I was born in. Do touristy things. I don't speak French, so neither does my mom. So I'm sure it'll be a heck of a time. But eventually one day we will go. Aside from that, I really don't have any other dream vacation. I'm someone who very much lives in the present, if that makes any sense. I really don't daydream. I'm the kind of person who doesn't sit here and daydream like the what ifs. of the future. I sit here and daydream of different scenarios or different things of previous conversations that I could have said, or different ways they would have worked out if I said something different, or if something different had happened in the situation. I'm not much of like a futuristic thinker. I think very much what is currently happening, different scenarios of what currently could happen. As far as future, I typically think of a few months out, maybe the end of that year, but I don't think long term ahead. I probably should. I've tried before, and something about that, just I lose interest for some reason. But going to Paris has always been something that has maintained something that I would want to do and that my mom would want to do. We would do it together. Other than that, I don't think I have a dream vacation. I mean, there's places that I would like to go and visit, but just going overseas interests me. But I've never sat and like thought about what I would do overseas. I really just want to experience like different cultures. For me, I like to watch a lot of YouTube when I'm not like looking at commentary stuff. I like to watch a lot of YouTube about different communities, how they live, how things work, people with severe mental health that affects them. This may sound twisted, but it's true. It's kind of like the fascination when people have with true crime. I have to like understanding and relating to others. So people with severe mental health, I like to know how they operate. And part of the reason is so if I ever come across people who have the mental health, that I could help them, or that I could be an advocate for them, or that I may be that one person that notices how they're dealing with a situation and help them come through with it. Same thing with different cultures. Even though I'm weird about foods, especially most, like my husband would love to go to Japan because of all of the street food and the seafood. That kind of terrifies me because I'm weird about my seafood. But just going to different countries like that and immersing yourself in the culture seems it's very intriguing to me. I like to learn about people's cultures and how they operate. Whistling drives you crazy. If I'm in a weird mood, it can bother me. You want to go to Alaska where it's daylight. I have a lot of friends who are stationed in Alaska right now. I don't know. I think the daylight thing would throw me off. One of your dream vacations is to go to Paris for a month and rent an apartment and watch the world go by. Doesn't that just sound amazing? Paris is amazing. You've learned if you don't speak the language to apologize for it, and you will get someone who speaks English. Well, that's nice to know. You pay your dues and would ignore HOAs are a pain. I remember we rented somewhere for a few years that had HOAs, and they were a pain in the rear. You'll be going to Ireland when your nephew and his wife have children, when it's time for them to be christened. That's cool. My sister studied abroad in Scotland. I don't remember what year of college, but she studied abroad, and my mom went over there and they did some traveling. They went to Ireland, I believe. They went to a few different places. I can't remember them all. They had a wonderful time. You love living in Europe and learning the differences. See, that's more of what interests me than anything. Yeah, there is 2 Cheryls in the chat. It can get confusing. What if you want to put up oh, you're talking about HOAs, yeah. Hey Pippi, good to see you. It's broadened your taste buds over the years traveling. Yeah. I can imagine it does. I do not know how you're modding 2 channels, Sue. Who else is live? Am I crossing into somebody else's live stream time? I try not to do that, but I can't be mindful. I can't remember and be mindful of everybody at all times. Otherwise, no one would be able to stream, right? Northern Lights for you, but you'll never be able to fly again. So you're going to Ireland as it's close to Wales. I'm sorry you can't fly again. Northern Lights look beautiful. Photos of the Northern Lights look absolutely beautiful. You've been to Paris, you don't speak any French, and it was fine. We have cheap flights to Tokyo from here, and the street food is bomb. You're vegans, not so sure about the seafood. I've heard like people either love Paris or you hate Paris. My sister's been to Paris. Did my mom? I think my mom went to Paris. I can't remember. This is what I'm telling you guys about my memory. My memory is just jacked. I know my sister went to Paris, and I'm trying to picture photos if my mom was there. I cannot remember. I don't think she was. Maybe she was. I don't know. I can't remember. Hey, Linda. Yep, you can never have enough Cheryls. That's right. Do I watch the behavioral panel? No, what is that? Oh, Erin, you didn't want to. I don't mind if people leave. I'm not weird about my chat size or anything like that. The Northern Lights are eerie because they're absolutely silent. England is beautiful. I would love to, like, just the castles over in Europe. They're just so magnificent. Like the things that you see on TV and the things that you see, the castles that you see. And I would never want to stay in a castle because hauntings creep me out. And, you know, I'm somebody who believes in that kind of stuff. But they're just so beautiful. I would love to walk through. Weird thing is, man, this is really weird, but I'm going to say it anyways because why not? So there are some really expensive, like multi-million-dollar mansions close to where we live. And whenever we drive by them or close to them, I always say, I just want to walk through it. I don't want to own a house that big. Heck no, I have a hard enough time keeping, you know, the house, the normal size house that we have, keeping up with that. I just want to walk through it and like just, I know questions that would go through my head is like, how do they maintain this? And most of us would probably jump to the answer that they have somebody. If you can afford a house that big, typically you can afford somebody to come and clean it. But I mean, I just want to walk through them. I just want to know what they look like, what their interior is. I'm very much someone who is weird about interior. Like when I got my vehicle, I was very particular about what kind of interior I wanted because in the previous cars that I had, well, the car before that was a new car, but I wanted specific interior in it to look a specific way. And being someone who's rented and probably will continue to rent for quite a while longer, you don't really get to pick much about the house. So I don't know. I would never want a massive house or anything like that, but I just want to walk through them. You try to look in the windows. Okay, I don't try to do that. I'm pretty sure the houses here are in gated communities. So that wouldn't even be possible. But they do, I'm pretty sure there's things here where the big nice houses like that once a year where you can walk through them, like they show their houses off, which, hey, they worked for it, go ahead. My husband told me about that, I think after it happened. I was like, dang it, because I always am telling him, he's the only one here with me. So whenever we're driving together and I'm not by myself thinking this stuff to myself and I say it to him, There are some really gorgeous houses around us. You can't think of where to go as far as another country. Your cousin went to Torini. You need you have your passport and can now go back to New Zealand again. Another place that I would like to go is the Philippines, because that's where my husband's mom's from, and she goes and visits quite often. I think she goes like once a year, maybe twice a year. My husband really doesn't want me to go though. They stopped by, my mother-in-law and her husband stopped by a few weeks ago, and it was mentioned that I wanted to go. She was like, yeah, you should. And my husband's like, no, let's not. Who would want to clean a house that big? I mean, if they're probably paying a housekeeper a good bit of money to pay to clean houses that large. You love everywhere. All places are wonderful to see. Makes you cranky that Australia is at the ass end of the earth because no travel time, stupid island. Australia is beautiful though. Some of the creatures and wildlife that you guys have, although super scary, are just gorgeous. You think it's in Greece? Real estate is high everywhere. It is definitely a seller's market right now. Right? Did I say that right? Maybe not. I don't know. Real estate's doing really well right now, which is in a lot of areas, the area that I'm in as well, which is great for homeowners and stuff like that, but not good for renters because we were informed our rent will probably increase once our lease is up. So that's just fantastic. Behavioral panel is on YouTube. I think you'd find it interesting. They analyze body language. So I don't know what that particular channel. I do know there's a couple of other, I mean, that's not a totally uncommon thing. There's a lot of channels that talk about body language and analyzing body language and telling you what body language means. I don't really find those videos interesting. I don't mean that to be offensive or rude. I just don't find them interesting because sometimes they say if you look off to the left, if you look off to the right. I constantly am looking all around, and I'm not, you know, being deceitful or whatever they say that some of these things mean. Do I think it provides an interesting perspective to some conversations? Yeah, absolutely. I just don't find it, I don't find that kind of content engaging to me. And maybe that's because I kind of know how to, not on video, I don't really know how to analyze body language, but in real life I do, kind of been trained to with my previous work. So I don't know, maybe that just makes me jaded a little bit about it. Strange story, someone called us out of the blue the other day and offered you, what? That's insane. Yeah. People are trying to buy up property right now. They take a baseline of your normal speaking pattern and compare it to that. Yeah, I've watched a couple of people analyzing others' body language when like big controversial things have happened and they cover those. But it's just not very interesting to me. I can see where they're coming from and I understand like their science behind it and the reason on what they're saying. But at the same time, it's a pre-recorded video. Like body language, I know is something that we can't always, people don't like, it's an unconscious thing for body language to happen most of the time. But some things happen out of nervousness that could be read as deceitfulness and vice versa. I think they can be entertaining if you're entertained by that kind of content. It's just not content that I'm interested in. And that's not to make anybody feel bad if you enjoy that kind of content or you like picking up the information that they're putting out there and educating. You want to go to Australia one day too, but you want to stay for like a month or two. Australia seems like I would love to visit there, but I would be so petrified because I've watched all of like the what channel was that? The Animal Channel? What is that what it was called? I might be losing my mind. The channel that was all about animals, was that called the Animal Channel? And I'm not thinking of the Discovery Channel. There was a channel that was all about like animals in different parts of the area, different parts of the world. And some of the most beautiful animals in the world are in Australia, but they're also some of the most dangerous and deadly animals. And that scares me. Animal Planet, thank you. Clearly, I am not all with it. Yeah, thank you guys all for correcting the animal channel. I mean, it's close enough, right? There's no way you'd sell your house to someone who randomly called. I mean, I can understand like the hesitation there, 100%. All right, guys. So I am going to get close to wrapping. See, I do need to hop off of here because clearly I'm unable to even speak at this point. But I'll open it up one more time. If anybody has any questions, specific, general, any kind of questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to leave it now. And I'll get to it before I head off of here. Yeah, they were probably fishing, Melissa. I think you're right. Probably fishing to see if they were open to it or not. Where are the pups? The pups are in the living room with my husband. So Paisley, when you guys saw her last, if I show her now, you guys would, she still looks the same, but she looks like she lost about 10 pounds because I brushed her out. She was blowing out. If you don't have a double coated dog, you may not experience this. And I'm so happy you don't experience it. I experience it twice a year with her, typically once in the wintertime and once in the summertime, where they blow out their undercoat. So they look super rough and their fur gets everywhere. As I said, my mom's coming to visit in a few weeks. And if we just let her go, then our whole house will be covered in dog hair, myself included. So what I did yesterday was I actually had, we have a massive dog crate. You'll know in just a second. I had my husband lock me and her in the dog crate yesterday for, I think it took me like 45 minutes to totally brush her undercoat out. So she looks super thin right now because she's not as fluffy with all of that fur. But man, it's a pain. And, it's just, it was the worst blowout she's had before. And I think it's because the winter was so cold here and she's never been through a winter this cold before. So I think her fur really grew in. Oh, it was a mess. I still have hair all over the house and all over me because it's just flurrying around like snow. Your family dog is a Belgian German Shepherd. She's probably, yeah, they are. Most German Shepherds are double coated. You'll know when a dog starts to blow their coat if they're double coated like that whenever there's like tufts awkwardly like hanging on to them, and if you grab the loose fur it just pulls out in a chunk. That's a blowout. She started to do it I guess on Friday probably, And then it just progressively got worse. And I took her outside and I brushed part of her. Paisley does not like to sit still. So brushing her is not fun, which is why I ultimately resorted to locking her in the cage with me, because the only alternative that we have that I typically do is give her a bath. And that was when I had a blow dryer. I used to have a dog blow dryer. We either threw it away or it got broken in the move. And I don't have that. And to just wash her and not blow out her coat with a dog dryer is not going to do anything. It'll get some of it, but not all of it. So I had to get an undercoat rake and rake her whole body. And she is like a new dog. She's so happy that she doesn't have that extra fur just hanging on her, but she was not happy while I did it. She was very mad at me. With your background, I thought you would enjoy body language. No, I mean, it makes sense that it would seem that would intrigue me, but it really, the content does it. The concept of it and learning how to do it, yes, that does. But the content of people analyzing other videos and stuff like that, not really. It's just something that I'm not interested in. What kind of dog do I have? I have a chocolate lab and a husky named Hemi. That's a cute name. He went through the same thing a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I kind of was interested to see if she would actually shed it all out at once, and she did. You have a toy Australian Shepherd. Oh, you just got a toy Australian Shepherd yesterday. He's so fluffy. Those are some high-strung dogs. Good luck. I mean that with all sincerity. My parents have an Australian Shepherd. They rescued him, and he's a beautiful dog. He's a blue merle, and his name's Rhodey, and he's so pretty, but he is so high-strung. Part of that is because he was not taken care of the first couple of years of his life, but those dogs historically and genetically are runners, and they are smart. I've always grown up with dogs. So you have tiny dogs. Yeah, I've seen your little photos on Twitter, Sue, of your dogs. Your dogs are cute. I just personally prefer larger dogs. And I say that Paisley's not very large. She's only like 40 pounds, 45 pounds, maybe. She's not very big. Oh man, 6 acres. That's plenty of room for him. Just keep his brain going. Keep him motivated. My sister-in-law's got 2 German Shepherds. One is, I think, 6 months and the other one's 3 months. I might be a little bit off on their age. And they've only had cats before, so it's kind of funny when she's talking to me or my husband and she's telling us about the struggles she's having of the puppies. And I'm like, I just give her all of the advice and education and knowledge that I have from not only having puppies myself, but from working with animals for so long growing up. But it's just kind of funny to hear someone who's not been a dog mom before experience everything she's experiencing. I shouldn't laugh, but it is a little bit funny. Good night, Jean. I'm going to hop off here shortly. Your husky had 2 different color eyes and she was a runner. She would just leave the fence and then run down to the PlayStation. Oh, that's funny. Paisley has blue eyes and Gizmo both have blue eyes. And they're both just like the black and white huskies. I really love red huskies, though. I think red huskies are beautiful. If we ever get another husky, I will probably put in like a ultimatum that you're only going to get another one if we get a red one. If it's not too personal, nothing's too personal. My husband doesn't want me to visit the Philippines because it's really not safe for the area that he grew up is really not safe for Caucasian women. especially if you have blue eyes. Women who are Caucasian and have blue eyes in the area that she is from were kind of like prized possessions. So he's scared something bad would happen. So it's out of good reason. It's not out of any bad reason. And eventually, will we probably go? Eventually, I'm sure we will. It's more for safety reasons. It's gotten better. And I was going to say more, but I'm not going to because I don't want to air out my mother-in-law's area and stuff like that. But it's gotten better there. But crime where the specific island that she is from is known to be a little bit higher, and it's getting better over the last couple of years to where she said she didn't think it would be an issue as long as we went with her because she speaks Tagalog. She is, I mean, she's from there. She's a transplant to the U.S. She is a citizen, but we would not be able to go without her because my husband doesn't speak Tagalog. He knows a little bit, but not enough to have a fluent conversation. And I'm not even sure if he understands the language entirely. I know he understands part of it, but I don't know if he understands it enough to where we would even be able to function over there without her with us. So if we ever were to go, we would probably go with her and my stepdad, his stepdad, because they're known on that island. So I would be safe with them. He's just fearful. It's understandable. It's more of a protective reason than anything bad. And not all areas of the Philippines are like that. Yeah, definitely do a lot of research about Australian Shepherds and toy Australian Shepherds. They're amazing dogs, but if you do not exercise him and if you don't keep his brain going, he is probably going to become a nuisance. And I mean that most respectfully. If you have high working breed dogs and you don't actually work them, that's when you start to see like social anxiety things happen. You start to see destructive behaviors. You start to see some aggression at times. All of that stuff comes out from genetics and things that they're inherited, and they know that they're bred to do, but because they're domesticated, people think that they don't need to work the dog anymore. That's definitely not the case. Some of the happiest dogs on the planet are working dogs. My husband doesn't speak fluent Tagalog, and I don't know if he, like I said, I don't even know if he fully understands the language anymore. I don't know if he ever did. He can understand certain things. Like he grew up with speaking Tagalog to his mom in the sense of like saying I love you and a couple of other like little sentences and stuff like that. Thank you, Cheryl P, for the super sticker. You didn't have to do that. So I know he knows a couple of words and stuff like that, but I really don't think he fully can comprehend the language. Because his mom has talked to her sisters and stuff like that in full Tagalog in front of us. And I've asked before, like, oh, what's she talking about? And he says he doesn't know. So I don't think he fully understands. Alrighty, guys. Well, I have been on here for a little bit over an hour and a half. I appreciate everybody who's come on and has just had a laid back conversation. On Friday, I'll post the new poll, and hopefully there will be a video out tomorrow. It really just depends. This week might be a little bit more sparse on videos with everything that I've kind of said in this video going on. But there will be some. I just don't know if it'll be as consistent as I had been these last couple of weeks. And we will have a Friday wrap up. So there's at least one very heavy video that I will be putting out. So if I'll put some trigger warnings at the beginning because it's going to be a pretty sensitive conversation that I don't know if everybody wants to participate in. But with all of that being said, thank you all for being here. I hope you guys all have a good rest of your Monday or Tuesday, wherever you are. And until next time, bye guys.